Good afternoon, everyone. So we were continuing the separation of the substances. So before we have completed that separation of the solid and solid mixtures, now we are continuing the separation of the solid from the liquid. Okay, so to separate this type of the solid from the liquid, what steps we can follow, that is yesterday we have discussed, but here the three steps we have discussed. So now I will just show you how this type of the step it will be helpful for the separation of the solid from the liquid. Okay, so here it is showing that step 1, it is called as the sedimentation. That means what? Whenever you are mixing the mud inside the water, so automatically the mud or the clay particle, it will be settled down at the bottom of the glass or bottom of the beaker as it is showing in the figure. So this is called as the sedimentation. So how it is, see here. So if you give this one mud and the water, automatically the mud it will be sedimented, that means settle down inside the or the bottom of the beaker. So it is known as the sedimentation. So first you need to write down that what is sedimentation. Sedimentation, it is the process wherever the heavier impurities of the mud or of the substance, it will be settled down the bottom of the beaker. That is known as the sedimentation. Okay, so let's go to the next step. Now what is the step 2? It will be known as the decantation. That means whenever the upper layer of the water we will separate into the another beaker. Okay, the mud water we are collecting into the another beaker or another pot, so that it will be known as the decantation. So the next question you will write down, what do you mean by the decantation? So in this process, the water collected above the mud after sedimentation, first you need to give the time for the sedimentation, then whatever the water it will be collected upper side, this water you are taking into the another beaker, that is known as the decantation. Okay, so let's move to the next process. So students, the next process is the filtration. That means whatever the water I have collected, this water obviously it is not, still now it is not clear, not the clear water we have collected. Somehow the mud particles it is there, still now it is in the mixed condition. So what we will do, first we will take a piece of this small filter paper, and with the help of the filter paper we will separate the extra mud particle which is still now present in the water. Okay, so in this process, decanted water, after decantation, whatever the water we have collected, this water I will give the or I will use the filter paper. Okay, so I will pass this water through a filter paper. The finer particle of the water, whatever that mud particle, it will be getting attached with the filter paper, so that we can collect the clear water. So there are three steps. What are the steps? First we have discussed that sedimentation. Second we have discussed that decantation. Third we have discussed that filtration. But somehow the evaporation also it is there, from where we can get separated whatever the solid from the liquid. Okay, so due to the evaporation, what we need to do, with the help of the heat, whatever the extra particles, means the water particles, it will be getting evaporate, and whatever the solid particle, it will be remain inside the pot, or you can say the beaker. So evaporation also one process to getting separated solid from the liquid particles. Okay, so next we will be discussing different questions from the NCERT chapter. Okay, so let's go ahead. So students, now you will give the heading in your copy, and this question number 8 and question number 9 you will complete in the copy. Okay, fill in the blanks. These are the all short type question answer. The method of separating seeds of paddy from its stalk is called what? Okay, so you will write down the answer in the full sentence. Okay, second, when milk cold after boiling is poured onto a piece of cloth. The cream, malai, which we used to say, is left behind on it. This process of separating cream from the milk is an example of which process? You need to write down. Salt is obtained from seawater by the process of what? Next, the impurities settled at the bottom when muddy water was kept overnight in a bucket. The clear water was then poured off from the top. Okay, the process of separation used in this example is called what? Okay, so you will write down in the full sentence in your copy. Next, I am going to the question number 9. Is it true or false? Because here some statements it has been given. First given, a mixture of milk and water can be separated by filtration. Second, a mixture of powdered salt and sugar can be separated by the process of winnowing. Separation of sugar from tea can be done with filtration. Last, grain and husk can be separated with the process of decantation. So these 8 and 9, these two questions you will write down in the copy. Okay, this is from the NCERT. So give the heading NCERT question, then 8 and 9. 1 to 7 or whatever the remaining questions from the NCERT, that is we will discuss in the next class. Okay. So students, this is the video or this is the slide I am sharing. So which one is the correct method for the separation? Okay, so to choose the correct separation method, we need to choose different properties, as we have discussed in the sorting materials, different properties for the materials which are having. But here also, due to the separation, how we will separate the substance, we need to consider a few properties of the components in the mixture. So let us see which properties must be considered. First, the type of the mixture. Is it solid mixture or is it the solid liquid mixture? That is first you need to consider. Second, the size, weight and quantity of different components. Third, the solubility of different components. So we have discussed this one lots of the time in the class. So these are the basic properties which we need to consider during the separation of the substances. Next, using this mixture we separated in our previous activity which we have done in the 3 steps: sedimentation, decantation or whatever that, filtration. Okay. Next, which category does the mixture of pencil shavings, salt and dal belongs to? That is yesterday we have done in the class. Solid mixture or solid liquid? So obviously you can give the answer. Whatever the answer, it will be the solid and solid mixture. Okay. So answer over here, it is the solid and solid mixture. Okay. Next, which property did you consider for separating the components of the mixture where it is showing, and why also you need to give the reason? Size of the particle or weight of the particle? So you think and give the answer what it should be. Either it will be size or it will be the weight. First, we need to give importance the size. Why? Because if you consider the size of the particle, automatically the mixture it can be getting separated. Okay. Next, based on the particle size, which method did you choose to separate the pencil shavings? If the pencil size of the one component is big enough to be picked, then we will do the hand picking. So there are different that whatever we have studied that solid mixture, how we will get separate. So this one, it is giving one example. If both the components are small, with one being coarse or the other being fine, then obviously we will go for the sieving process. Next, if one component is very lighter than the other components, obviously we will go for the winnowing process. Next, if one component is attached to one another, so we will beat them, that is known as the threshing process. Okay. Now, if the particle size of the components is big enough, then obviously we will go for the hand picking. Like that, this method separates the pencil shavings from the mixture. Suppose like that, whatever in the picture it is showing the dal, it is mixed with the pencil shavings. So you can automatically separate the pencil shavings which are the impurities from the dal. So it is known as the hand picking process. Next, the sieving process. How? This one also you can do whenever the fine and the most of the large particles it will be there, though, so you can separate with the help of the shaving process. Okay, so this one, which types of the solids are present in this mixture? Both soluble, both insoluble, otherwise one soluble and the other insoluble. So obviously both are soluble. So here we need to do, if the both solids are insoluble, then what we can do, check which solid is heavier or lighter. Okay, first we need to consider the weight. Then first separate the heavier solid by sedimentation and decantation. Then separate the lighter solid by filtration. So these are the different particle. Wherever the solid, if it is insoluble in the water, so from the liquid we can whatever we can separate the solid particle easily with the help of the sedimentation, decantation and the filtration. Okay students, this is the picture sedimentation. First it is going to settle down at the bottom of the layer, then the whatever the upper layer we have gained, so this upper layer of the liquid we are getting separated into the another beaker. This is known as the decantation. So after decantation, whatever the obviously it is still now it is with the impurities, so the impurities we are getting separated or we are getting collected with the help of the filtration process. So in the filtration process, what we will use, a piece of filter paper, so that whatever the impurities or whatever the solid particles till now it is mixed with the liquid, it will get separate. Okay, so here some questions are given. Your book, from your book the page number is 69. So from this book you will write down the answer in your copy. 11.1, there are 3 questions are given. Seba separated a mixture of onion, tomatoes and potatoes by picking them with her hand. Can she use the same method to separate a sugar and salt mixture? No, obviously. Give a reason for your answer. You need to give the reason, but don't copy it again, I am saying, and see how should she decide which method to use. Okay, so these 3 questions you will write down in the copy as the homework. From this exercise also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 questions also you will write down as the homework, because these are very easy questions. First question, why do we need to separate different components of a mixture? Give the 2 examples. You can give the 2 examples also. What is we knowing why it is used or where it should be used, like that. Question number 3, how will you separate husk or dirt particles from a given samples of pulses before cooking? These are also very easy. Just you need to give your supportive reason or supportive answer also. Okay. Question number 4, what is the sieving process? Where is it used? Okay, or why it should be used, like that. Question number 5, how will you separate sand and water from their mixture? So if you if you have the sand and the water as a mixture, so how the sand and the water it will be getting separated, because sand is not soluble in the water. That's why how the sand, or you can say how the mud, in the class we have done how the mud it is getting separated. So like that 3 process you can write down in this question. Okay students, now we will see one video according to the solution. Okay, so let's start the video.
In this video, we will be learning about solutions. Let's take a look at what happens when salt is mixed with water. The salt dissolves in water and forms a solution. Mixtures in which one substance dissolves in the other are called solutions. Salt is the component that gets dissolved in water. It is known as the solute. The water is the component in which the salt gets dissolved. It is known as the solvent. So, a solute plus a solvent makes a solution. Is a mixture of soil and water a solution? Notice how most of the soil particles have settled in water, whereas the lighter soil particles are floating in water. So, the mixture of soil and water is not a solution, as the soil cannot dissolve in water. Some examples of solutions are sugar and water, coffee, lemon juice and water. In conclusion, mixtures in which one substance completely dissolves in the other are called solutions.
So students, in this class we have studied that how the solid and the liquid mixtures are getting separated, how the whatever the correct process to getting separated solid mixtures also, and lastly we have discussed the solution. What is the solution? Whenever the solute particle, it will be mixed in the solvent to make a complete solution, that is known as actually the solution process. Okay, so what you will do, first I have given the homework 3 questions and you will write down what were questions I have discussed in between the class, and this how to make a solution, what are the examples of the solution, what is the definition of the solution, this is also you will note down in the copy. Okay, so in the next class I will check all the questions. Today I will check all the questions. Okay, for today the class is over and everyone do the homework properly. Okay students, bye everyone.